Chapter 4. The Witch. Rostam, riding Raksh after traveling a long distance, reached a spring in Sari, which was filled with flowers and plants. The atmosphere was joyful and delightful. By the spring, he came across a beautiful and neatly arranged table. On the table, there was a roasted ram, various kinds of food, abundant bread, and a variety of drinks. Rostam thanked the Lord and said, "It is likely that the Lord has prepared this feast for us." Rostam felt joy and tied Raksh to a nearby spot. Unaware that it was a feast laid by the demons, he sat at the table and began eating. He savored the different foods and enjoyed them. Afterward, he turned to the drinks, tasting the wine and becoming intoxicated. His eyes then fell upon a tambourine placed beside the table. He picked it up, began to play, and sang soulful songs. The sound of Rustam's singing and playing reached the ears of an old sorceress. The sorceress transformed herself into a beautiful young girl and, holding a goblet of wine in her hands, approached Rostam and sat next to him. Rostam embraced the girl and gave thanks to the Lord for all the blessings that had come his way. As soon as he mentioned the name of the Almighty, the girl quickly transformed and her face turned into a black, demon-like appearance. Rostam looked at her carefully and realized that she was a sorceress. The sorceress tried to escape, but Rostam threw a rope around her neck and captured her. He drew his dagger and plunged it into the sorceress's abdomen, killing her. After that, he gave thanks to the Almighty and said, "It is your name that caused this magic to be broken." He mounted his horse and continued on his way. Thus, he successfully passed the fourth trial. Chapter 5. Olad, the Guardian's Offspring. Rostam and Raksh continued their journey with resolute determination until they reached a vast and lush meadow. There, abundant green fodder stretched out before them, covering the land like a sea of hope. Rostam looked around and said, "This land offers a rare opportunity. Raksh can feed on these plentiful grasses, and I too will take a moment to rest." He let Raksh roam freely in the meadow to graze, while he himself rested by a river, its calm waters flowing from the heart of the earth, to regain his strength. At that moment, the guardian of the field, with firm steps and a staff in hand, strode toward Rostam. With anger burning in his eyes, he struck Rostam's leg forcefully with the staff, and as the sound of the blow echoed through the air, he shouted, "Why have you settled here in such careless peace? Your horse grazes freely, while this land belongs neither to you nor your steed. Who gave you permission to enter our domain, and who allowed you the audacity to let your horse feed on the forage here?" Without saying a word, Rostam drew his dagger in fury, swiftly severed the guardian's ears, and placed them in his hands. He then said to the guardian, "Go on with your business. I know exactly what I am doing." The guardian of the fields, angry, went to Olad, the champion of that region and the guardian of its borders. He told Olad the story, and Olad, along with his men, headed towards Rostam. Rostam, seeing them from afar, drew his sword and charged into battle. He killed several of Olad's warriors, while others fled. He defeated Olad in the battle and captured him, but since he needed him, he did not kill him. He said to Olad, "You are familiar with these regions. I am looking for someone who is like you. Tell me where the place of the demons is, where the lair of the white demon is, and also tell me where King Chaos and his companions are imprisoned, so I can complete my mission successfully." He also gave a promise to Olad, saying, "If you remain loyal to me in my service, when I overthrow the king of Mazandaran, I will make you the king of Mazandaran." Olad accepted, and together with Rostam, they set off toward the domain of the demons. Chapter 6. Arzhang the Demon. Rostam and Olad reached Mount Spiros, a great mountain known as White Peak in the Mazandaran language, the place where the white demon, the tyrannical Ahriman, had imprisoned King Chaos. It was midnight when a great roar came from the heart of Mazandaran, and in every corner of the land, flames rose and spread through the air. Rostam looked at Olad with a determined gaze and asked, "Where is the place where flames are rising on both sides?" Olad, who was well aware of the land of the demons, replied, "That is the beginning of the land of Mazandaran, where the guardian demons reside. And there, where the enormous tree stretches its crown to the sky, is the tent of the demon Arzhang, a demon who rises from the depths of the dark mountains and whose thunderous and terrifying roar is always heard from there. Rostam spent the night in the heart of the mountain, and at dawn, with unwavering resolve, he tied Olad to a tree and set off towards a deep ravine to face the battle with the evil demon. In the heart of the mountains, silence and darkness reigned supreme. At that moment, Rostam walked with steady steps toward the battlefield, his footsteps echoing like a storm in the earth. When he reached the gates of Arzhang's camp, the demon, Arzhang, roared loudly and charged toward him. Rostam, with fiery eyes and a chest full of courage, drew his sword and prepared for battle. Arzhang, with powerful strikes that shook the ground, attacked Rostam. Each blow from the demon was like a storm, but Rostam, with unmatched skill and speed, evaded the attacks and struck back at every opportunity. The battle grew more intense than anyone had imagined. Rostam pushed Arzhang back with every move, while Arzhang relentlessly tried to overpower him. The demon struck with enormous strength, but none of his blows landed. In a critical moment, Rostam, with a swift and precise movement, threw his sword and landed a deadly blow to the demon's heart. Arzhang let out a terrifying scream of pain as he fell to the ground, and after a brutal struggle, Rostam severed his head from his body. Arzhang's troops, witnessing the victory, scattered in fear and terror. After the great victory, Rostam returned to Olad. His breath was still short from the intensity of the battle. He untied the rope from Olad's hands, and together they set off toward the city, where Chaos and his companions were held captive, and they freed them. King Chaos, upon seeing Rostam, was filled with joy and warmly welcomed him. He then guided him regarding the location of the white demon. Rostam and Olad, with hearts full of hope, headed towards the lair of the white demon.